Well, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to Project Time Tech. On the project bench today is a Borescope. A Borescope with a bad broken screen. That's a lot of B's. We know that it's a Borescope because, well, it says right there that it's a Borescope. Also, we know that it has a broken screen because, well, you can tell by the way that it is. I had something fall on it, and it broke the outer cover here. But in addition to the outer cover, it also went in and cracked the LCD. So it's no good either. Now, I went ahead and bought a replacement scope quite some time back. And, well, I was going to throw it away. And, you know, each time I got ready to throw it away, I was like, maybe I should fix this. So I went ahead and threw it on the bench here a couple of weeks ago and pulled it apart. And I just wanted to see if I could find a part number on the LCD. And come to find out, there's no markings of any kind on the LCD. I took it out, put it on the table. Looks just like this. Where this one has a nice sticker with a part number on the back and some more gobbledygook down here, that one has nothing. So I don't know what kind of LCD it is. But what I did is I jumped out on eBay and basically just I took my old LCD and just laid it on the counter and started looking for replacements that had a had a ribbon cable that looked like this, and I came across this one. It's just a 3.5 inch. There's like 1,000 of these things out there, and all of them they were a little different. So I was like, well, without a part number to go on, you're really just looking for, you know, is it geometrically the same or not? Don't know if it's electrically the same, but anyway, I got one, and I'm going to try to put it in here today. But the other thing that's kind of throwing us for a loop here is, while I had this thing apart on the table, it was apart for a couple of hours while I was researching and trying to find replacement parts for it. It got knocked off the table, and it was all my fault. And of course, you know, half of it has wires that go to connectors in a circuit board. The other half, you know, is attached to the battery and to the camera and all that. Well, pull some wires loose. Matter of fact, pulled them right out of a connector. There's a 3-wire connector, and the connector stayed in there because, well, they hot glued it, and well, wires pulled out of it. So we've got to try to figure out where those go or what order they go in, and we've got to try to put them back in the connector some way or somehow. But oh, and also the power button. It did a number on the wires for the power button, pulled those right off as well. So I've got to solder those back on. Can't guarantee I'll fix the machine today, but I'm certainly going to give it a whirl. It beats the heck out of just throwing it away without trying. These things, I don't know, they're not that expensive. They're 50, 60 bucks, I think, or whatever. It's from Harbor Freight. And I want to say this thing here was like 15 or 17, or it wasn't expensive. So if nothing else, it'll be fun to work on it. So without further ado, let's throw it on the bench and tear it apart. Well, it's kind of already on the bench, but let's clean the bench and tear it apart. Well, this is pretty much like any other take it apart game. See a screw, take a screw out. I'm going to start with these 4 back here. All right. Well, this is where we came to and pulled some wires out right here. These wires went to this connector here. So let's get the rest of it unplugged. Okay, and this circuit board here is held on with about 7,900 screws around the side. Probably should turn the soldering station on, let it be warming up, because I'm going to have to use that. All right, soldering station's coming up. The board should, oh wait, another screw right there. Almost missed ya. right, well, it should just sort of pop out of there at this point. There it goes. And there's the ribbon cable for the LCD. And this is free. Here are the two wires that went on the power switch. You can see those are popped loose as well. Did a number on this thing. All right. And then we have 4 more screws to get off here. And that should get our LCD out. All right. There's our power button assembly. And finally the LCD. Now, is it even the same size LCD? Now would be a great time to figure that out. It is the same size LCD. And gosh, it looks, at least it looks the same. I don't know if it is the same. I've got some different pins and things going on here. I just don't know. You won't know till you try it, right? It's either going to work or it's going to explode and kill us all. There's the damage to that LCD, if you can see that. Now this lens is just going to always be broken, and that's just how it's going to be. I'm okay with that. What do you think? I think we should get the thing working with this LCD. At least get this LCD to light back up, maybe, and then, you know, before we go jamming power to that. That way we know that if there's a failure, we know that, you know, at least we know what the failure is, possibly. So let's get our power put back on it. Oh man, wow, that is some seriously tiny wire. There we go. All right. Guess I'll just pop the switch right out of it here, if it will come out. Yeah, it will. All right. Put a little bit of fresh solder on there. Maybe it'll make it a bit easier to work with. Looks better anyway. Okay. And I'll get these tinned up. Should just be a matter of popping those back on there. All right, I should have the power button working again. All right, so the LCD was flipped around like that and had a kink in it. Let's see if we can get that back in there. That looks good. And what about the rest of this stuff? Now, this is the battery, so I'm going to hold up for a second before I plug that in. And one of these is going to be the camera, and one of these is going to be the LCD or the LED. I think this is the camera connector because it's got more wires on it, and I think this right here is the actual LED on the end of the stick that lights up, just that, you know, that lights your way, I think. So if that's correct, I should be able to plug this in here, and I should be able just to power it right up, right? Yeah, I can. All right, so the LCD itself is working. All right. Now I'm going to unplug the batteries again so I don't short anything out. I'm going to lift this LCD. I'm just going to pop the other LCD in it, and let's see if it works or if we die. Hopefully it works. Fiddly. Okay, let's plug this back in. And some power. Oh yeah, there we go, Syntec. I don't know if it's just I don't have it really clipped down that well, but it actually kind of looks like maybe it's going to sort of work. Let me power it off, but at least I can see everything on the screen. I think I'm able to see. I should be able to see. Yeah, I'm not plugged in completely on this. That's what's going on. Let's try this again. Now I'm plugged in. Let's try that. Yeah, something somewhere is not completely happy with this. I don't know what it is. I wonder if I don't think putting the scope on there is going to do anything, but let's try to put the scope on it anyway, just in case that has something to do with it. All right, so that's the scope on it, and let's see if that changes anything. It does not. It has a lot of ghosting going on there, but I can actually see actually that's the LCD or the LED on the end of the light is actually working. Okay, so these three wires may have something to do with something after all. Let's see if we can work that out. That's probably the next thing. I figured those were just powering the LED light here on the end, but clearly they do more than that. All right. How do we figure out what those are and where those go? I think what we do is we take the LCD screen off of it because, well, we don't want to break it again, worse. And I think I'm going to flip the whole thing over here on the table. I probably don't need this scope on it, so I'm going to take the scope back off. Okay, I've taken this I've just kind of flipped it around here, and I've taken the inspection scope off the end of it. I want to try to figure out what wires here do what. It's a 3-pin connector, And there's actually 4 pins on it, but there are only 3 wires, and it looks like the first 3 wires have something going to them. Looks like this 4th one maybe just goes to nowhere, so maybe it's the first 3, possibly. Don't know. Well, I've taken it apart a little bit further, and it seems that these 3 wires, the ones that are pulled loose, it seems the 3 wires in question go up to this this LED light up here. So went and looked in the manual, and the manual says that this is a LED charging indicator. So what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking that we basically just plug up the charger, and we start measuring voltages here, and we see if we can find a positive and negative voltage. It'll either work or it won't. Okay, here's power. So we don't have a battery hooked up to it, so it's really not going to charge anything. I don't think that's going to make any difference. But let's get the good old multimeter out here. And we'll go ahead and use the biggest, fattest tips we've got because, well, you know, it's just how we roll. And I already think that this one on the end goes to Nowhereville. So let's just start measuring voltages and see where we're at here. And I am in continuity mode. Let's change that. All right, I have a negative 2.3 going that way. 2.35 going that way. And then what else do we have here? Nothing. Negative 2.35 there. And 2 there. So this one appears to have positive voltage on it right now. And these other 2 appear to be, honestly, it looks like they're negative voltages right now. So if I go on this one, you even see the multimeter there. So I go on this first one here, and then I go, so it's pin 1 to 2. That's a negative 2.35. So that indicates that my leads are the wrong way around. So I'm on the first pin with red. Second pin, negative 235. Negative 235. All right, so both of these first 2 appear to have positive voltage on them, and the one on the right appears to be a ground. What about each one of these 2 ground? So that appears to be positive. That's got 5 volts to it right there. And that's got 5 volts to it. All right, so I've got, measuring to ground, I've got 2 volts on the first one and 5 volts on the next 2 to ground. So what does that mean to us? Is the 4th pin actually a ground? The 4th pin is a ground. So what are we thinking here? Are we thinking that since the 4th pin is a ground, I have a 2 volt and a 5 volt? But 2 of these are 5 volts. I don't understand. But this 4th one is definitely a ground, or this, 4th pin is definitely a ground. I don't know. I think what we do is it just goes to an LED, right? So all I'm doing is lighting up an LED. At the end of the day, it'll either light up or it won't light up, right? That's what I'm thinking. Let's do this. Let's take this right here, and I wonder if the green one I wonder if the green one maybe lights up when it's, maybe it lights up different color when it's charged versus when it's charging, maybe? Maybe the black goes to ground, and then I have a 2 volt and a 5 volt. Maybe the 2 volt is active at some times, and the 5 volt is active other times. I don't know. That's how we're going to give it a try, though. Let's see if what we get here. So we have this for ground, possibly. And I'm going to assume that the green is that. I'm going to assume that the red is that. I mean, it's going to work or it's not. Let's plug it in. Did I even plug those in right? I didn't. Those go upside down from that, don't they? They do. And this one. Okay. So that's all those hooked up. This should just be as simple as hook it up and see if a light even comes on or not. I mean, it should, right? Where's our charging? Charging. So I get nothing there right now at all. So what if I hook up the battery? Does that do anything? No. All right. So I have nothing on that at all. So that is obviously incorrect. Could it be that this black wire moves over one, possibly? Let's try that. All right. What do we have now? We have nothing still, but there's no battery on it. So should we plug a battery up? Okay. Oh, there. Okay. So we have a green light going. I wonder if this is a 2-color LED. I wonder if it lights up red while it's charging and green when it's done. Obviously, the battery's going to be low because it's been laying on a shelf for a long time now. So I wonder if we should try and swap the green and red. You think the red is for the red LED and the green is for the green LED? Let's try that. Red. Well, that one just fell out of there. At some point, I probably should stop fooling with this before I make these unusable, but I feel like I'm so close. All right. There's that. Now, look at that. That's what it is, I'll bet. So the red LED is on, indicating that it's charged, and I'll bet you anything it just switches over to the other LED color green when it's charged. Right, I feel pretty good about that. Let's put it back together and see just how good or bad it really is. See if it's even usable or not. Because I think one of the big things is it's going to be tough to find the correct screen for this, I think. Yeah, I mean, we do have something on the screen. It's not perfect. But it's it's somewhat usable, right? It's somewhat usable. Yeah, I'm going to say that's somewhat usable. Let me put it, actually, before I put it all the way back together, let's kind of wiggle some connections and move things around and make sure that it's not just a connection issue. I don't think it is. I'm sure this is an actual problem with either we have a faulty display that's from new, or it's just the incorrect display for the application. And unfortunately, I don't have a part number for the correct display for the application. But I do know that when you get in like setup, it's actually not too bad. Color or black and white. So that's black and white. It's got a lot of washout. I wonder if there's any contrast that we can do with it. Let's see. Let's go back to color and advanced settings, and none of that works. So is there... Okay, so here's brightness. Wait, that's the brightness of the LED, I think. Yeah, that's the brightness of the LED. And this is telephoto or wide, and this is TV in or out, I think, to switch, and this is just the reversing button. Okay, yeah, okay, I'm just going to put it all back together the way it came, and then we'll just have a look at it and see if we can live with it or if we're going to try to find another display. You know, it probably doesn't work perfectly, but it's usable, and I'm going to keep looking and to maybe see if I can find an LCD that fits a little bit better or works a little bit better. Problem is the no part number thing. That's just that's a real bummer. Maybe some of you guys out there know a little more about these types of LCDs, and maybe what what I have. The one that came out of this looks pretty much identical, but I did notice some differences in that ribbon cable. But the part number that I bought for this seems like a very common part number out there. So it leads me to believe that maybe there was an older version or something like that, that maybe the part number superseded, or who knows, something changed somewhere. But anyway, if I find the right LCD, I probably will grab it and just go ahead and stick it in there, since I know everything else about the scope works fine. Anyway, that's going to do it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around with me and spending some time on the workbench here. As usual, I appreciate it. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching.